Free Skaro! Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 858. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
This is a happy 12th anniversary to Amy and Rory Pond, married this day in history in 2010, but we'll get to that in the Timelash later on in this episode. Also later on in this episode, we resume our commentary for the classic William Hartnell story, The Space Museum, Part 3. The episode's so important that William Hartnell couldn't have even been bothered to turn up. He's not even in this episode. Because he was on holiday. He was on summer holiday, which will be on soonish. This is our last episode that we're recording at our usual time. The next episode is we're going to record our news early, so hopefully nothing breaks. And then the two episodes after that are all Fluid Links episodes to cover off holidays and stuff, because we're taking our first holiday in 12 years. The last time we did this was when I went to Egypt in September of 2010, and we banked a couple commentaries, as I recall. And so, you know what? We're allowed a holiday. Damn it. But we still continue.
I don't know who you're appealing to. What court of the land you were making a case to?
Probably me. Ever since I went freelance like 6 odd years ago, it's like I have to convince myself that no, it's fine to take 3 hours off from this time that you're working.
When Bill Hartnell can sit on a beach somewhere while the show that he is the star of is being made, I'm pretty sure you can do this.
I know.
Yeah, but he got paid for that.
He got paid for that. That's the thing.
It is weird, too, to think that he could do that. That would not happen in TV now, I'm pretty sure. Or they just have CG doubles of him or something.
Probably. Or they would just work around. I don't know. I don't know how they do that. Yeah. Made differently back then. But anyway, before we get to that, there was this is cool. I only found out about this because Toby Hadoke retweeted Shirley Houston's tweet about it. There was a Russell T Davies webinar this past week put on by Triple C, which is the community interest company I'm reading from their website, with the mission to drive up the role of disabled people in the arts and media, and the role of the arts and media in the lives of disabled people. This is the outfit that Shirley Houston got an MBE for. Doing great work. And it was a webinar with Russell T Davies, writer, if you haven't heard, of Doctor Who, that's being made right now.
Whatever.
Yeah, it was quite fascinating. It was a fascinating insight into disabled representation, but also just as his TV writing career, and of course things veered into Doctor Who. And there was some interesting stuff mentioned in this that I haven't seen online anywhere, because there's only about 400 or 500 of us on the webinar and stuff. The news bit that I took away initially was that it was Andy Pryor, casting director Andy Pryor, who was 100% adamant in casting a black actor as the next Doctor. Russell T Davies, he sort of said he was kind of 50-50 going in. I didn't take that to mean like he was like, I don't know if we should cast it. I think he was more open-minded, I guess. Like, he wasn't specifically looking at a black actor. I think he was being one of those people that was sort of like, oh, we'll just see, we'll throw the doors wide open if it happens to be a black actor to that we cast, and so be it. Which also I don't think is the right. I know when Pearl Mackie was cast as Bill, they were looking specifically at black actors for that.
The impression I got was that he was like keeping his options open as to who the next Doctor would be, rather than, you can interpret it in a number of ways, but it didn't seem like he was being narrow-minded when you listen to him.
Yeah. Context is key in that. I am curious though, who was the actor that they nearly cast until Ncuti Gatwa came in on the last day and stole the job. Hugh Grant the whole time.
Richard E. Grant, actually.
Yeah. The whole time was him. Also interesting things that I jotted down. He very much intimated that Ruth Madeley, who is playing a new companion in Big Finish, and she was in Years and Years as well. He said Ruth Madeley's in Cardiff this week. I wonder why. So that's a little bit of casting. Not news yet, but I'm assuming that she's probably in Cardiff for Doctor Who.
Probably not playing her Big Finish role.
Probably not. No. Also, what did he say? He said an interesting thing about ticking boxes. So one of the questions was, how do you write, include representation in TV without just ticking boxes? And he was very much saying, tick the boxes, because at least you're in the door, at least you could sort of once you're in the door, then you could do something with them. Sure, we need a gay character in this. Sure, we need a disabled character in this. At least they're now in that show, and now you can do something with them as opposed to just sort of having them in there. I thought it was an interesting approach of things. But. And
he pointed out that when he was younger, because he also pointed out he's turning 60 this year, that when he was younger and he saw these very camp characters and Are You Being Served and so forth, that was at least something for him to point at and go, okay, yeah, they're making fun of this guy, but also people are identifying with him. So I'm the wrong person to draw any conclusions from this because I'm not the demographic he's talking about, but it's a different point of view that you don't hear as much. So it's interesting as a guy who's gay and 60 and has got this far in TV that was his interpretation of it. It was interesting to hear.
I know, Warren, I sent you an audio copy of it. I did. Are there things that jumped out at you?
Well, the writing stuff he talked about, he said, for one, don't read those books that say have this in Act 1 and have this in Act 2, which is easy for a guy who just cranks stuff out and is very good at it to say. If that helps people, I think it depends on the person, honestly. But that was interesting. He also said, people asked, how can I get my stuff on Doctor Who, which, of course, we all secretly think. And he's like, well, you have to have done an amazing amount of other TV in the first place to write for Doctor Who because it's insanely difficult to write for. And Moffat said the same thing, and I'm pretty sure Chibnall went by the same rules. It is not that easy to write for this show, and you have to have a track record to have done so. Now, within that, there's a whole bunch of stuff that contradicts all this stuff before about inclusivity and all the rest of it. So there's that. But he's not wrong. That is a very difficult show to write for. And also, this is more my interpretation, he's kind of saying, go do your own thing. You don't have to do Doctor Who. You can make your own cool thing.
Yeah, don't just write Doctor Who. Just don't assume that you can just come in and just write Doctor Who. Yeah, is that right? You have to write everything to be sort of, aware.
And that's how
you're
going to establish yourself in the first place. And they also praised up and down working for the soaps and stuff like that. And the other thing that I remember now is he said that all writing is putting your head into other people's thoughts and then try to, what would this person do? Because they're not bad people, even if it's a villain of the show. Davros is, in his mind, not a bad person. He's got this mission that he has to accomplish. So that's how you create these characters. And his stuff is much more character driven than, say, Moffat's, which is much more precise, right? So
yeah.
So I kind of see where he's coming from with that.
Yeah, he said he never makes characters evil. He never says why are they like this? Because they're evil. Because no one is evil. They have their own.
Except part of the Supreme Court, if you have.
Yeah, that's true. Which I found, very interesting as well. I also like that when he said, somebody was saying, how do you write TV? And he listed all the TV shows that he likes to watch. Basically, and between those, that's where I try to write. He's, this is one key difference. If you've read the Writer's Tale, the book that Benjamin Cook and he wrote back in 2008, when he was a much younger man, and you get these emails coming in at 3:30 in the morning and everything. He doesn't do that anymore. He's nearly 60. He doesn't stay up till 4 a.m. to write anymore. Yeah, he basically tries to work it around all the TV shows that he likes to watch. Yeah. He was talking about honestly, this morning, BBC This Morning, your just morning chat show, because it just sometimes just tells random stories about real people, and just hearing about real people is kind of what inspires him to write things. Write character stuff. It's just normal, average people and their problems is sometimes just inspiration.
Not to veer off too far from the actual topic, but it's kind of well known amongst people writing books that generally you see authors writing stuff in their 40s and 50s, because that's when you've actually lived a life and have stuff to write about. If you're 20, not to crap on any 20-year-olds, maybe they do have a long bit of life experience that they can draw from. But generally authors start later for that very reason. They've just lived a bunch of experience. They've seen a bunch of other people's perspectives. There's more you can put in a book, right? And he's kind of talking about the same thing.
Yeah. It was also interesting to hear him talk about just the way that he writes is that he thinks about it a lot, and only when it's ready to basically be written down is when he writes it down. He doesn't write and then just sort of keep like amending. Like once he starts writing, like it's go time. Like this is pretty much it, and he'll finish it in a week or something like that. So like when he famously wrote Midnight in a weekend, he probably had those ideas in his head all ready to go and sort of like refining and fine tooling in his head before he wrote them down, which is in its own way is kind of an economic way of writing. I don't know if other people write that way too, but it was interesting.
It depends on the person.
Yeah.
It really depends on the person.
It does. I also thought it was interesting when he talked about, someone asked him about streaming and stuff, and how he mentioned how, what was it? It's a Sin the BBC put out. I know it obviously came out on Amazon later as all in one go, but they put out all the episodes of It's a Sin at the same time as it premiered, as episode 1 premiered, and he was worried that there would just be like kind of like an initial burst and then nothing, but it kept going. It did keep going. And they said that some shows are good for streaming, some shows are meant to be broadcast. And the question was more like, how is it different writing for a streaming show than it is for like, a weekly broadcast show? And he says, no, let the people deciding how it's broadcast, decide how it's being aired, and you should just write the show. So I was trying to like read into that. Well, how is Doctor Who going to be? Is it going to be a broadcast thing? Is it going to be a streaming thing? Did he know? Did he care? I'm not too sure.
He also seemed even more cynical about the fate of the BBC from the two offhand remarks he made.
Yeah, and about how basically, the right wing has essentially very much adamantly against the right wing, by the way. Doctor Who is going to be very political, I feel. Maybe not in overt terms, but I think there's going to be some interesting stuff in this. I think he's slightly older and more bitter and with more to fight for, I think, in his second tenure as Doctor Who showrunner. But yeah, you're just talking about like how they basically won the war of words, like they've turned woke into this great insult and stuff, and like they've somehow the right has sort of co-opted the war of words. Anyway, Warren, you're going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, when he does an obvious parody of Boris Johnson in RTD2 era, that's when somebody will just be flat out evil.
Possibly, or just dumb. I don't know.
That too.
Yeah. It was an interesting thing. Well done, Triple C, for putting that on. I found it very, very fascinating. It's this podcast has had an interesting history with Russell T Davies. Certainly how his first run ended, but that was 12 years ago. I feel like we've all sort of moved on.
We've forgiven everything, haven't we?
Absolutely everything. Absolutely everything.
I will praise to the skies the good parts of the RTD1 era.
Yeah.
And then I will look askance at the parts that sucked. Same with Moffat, honestly. I just liked more Moffat than not. But still, there's stuff to look askance at.
It ended badly with Russell T Davies for us, too. I think, that's his most recent thing, and therefore that's the thing that we sort of left with the meal was great. It got a little flabby towards the end, but that dessert was awful, and I got like food poisoning from it and everything. And that's what you remember. You remember the food poisoning. But
and to be fair, plenty of people who listen to this very podcast and are sure to remind us of it as soon as this drops, love the end of time. So to them, I say good on you, I suppose.
Yeah,
hey, we love our share of classic Who that other people would say they don't like. So
your love of Arato is well known and reviled. Actually,
Underworld. Yeah, this is the Underworld
more of a
Championship
guy, but hey,
yeah, exactly. It is just interesting to hear him talk about Doctor Who and TV and writing in general. And
yeah, I mean one thing that we've already said in the time since his announcement for his return, like the enthusiasm he puts behind what he says about Doctor Who is just so fantastic and wonderful, especially in the wake of like when you see interviews with Chibnall about his stuff. It's not like he doesn't express enthusiasm over it. He's usually got a smile on his face. He's bubbly and happy and all that kind of stuff, but it's a different caliber altogether with RTD.
Yeah.
But also, to be fair to Chibnall, it's probably not, being a showman is probably not his thing.
It isn't.
No, he's definitely more of a wallflower. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that, just because RTD is very good at this showman stuff, and he is. And it's refreshing to watch. But you know what? A year into the RTD2 era, when he's razzmatazing us, we're going to get kind of sick of it, frankly.
I know.
I'm sure we will.
I know we are. Listen, there's a podcast that's approaching the 16th anniversary. It's nice to have excitement and enthusiasm and stuff to talk about when it comes to Doctor Who.
But what happens when... Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
What happens when a show, like an episode we don't like, which is inevitably going to happen, and he's like, well, this new monster who sucks is wonderful because it's RTD, razzmatazz, and it'll get on your nerves. Trust me.
Well, I know. That raises an interesting, another thing they talked about, like somebody says, are there any episodes that you were displeased with or didn't come off as well as you thought? And he says he never answers that question because every person who works on Doctor Who, sometimes that one episode is all they ever did. And it would be awful for him to sort of say, oh yeah, that episode was terrible. It was awful. And then that person who's only Doctor Who was that episode, like, oh, it was the bad one. Well, you know, how does that make them feel?
Sure. Or that was the episode where the costume designer did their best work ever, or the sound guy did their best work ever, even if they've done 100 episodes.
Yeah. Rings of Accident has amazing costume work in it. I don't like it. The costumes and the creature design is amazing, and I have disparaged it because I don't like it. But there are some other people who did great work on that and should be proud of what they did. And I see where he's going with.
It's a very gracious and true thing for him to say. And it's totally, I didn't think of it that way. I'm like, oh, he's right. But it's also a good out for him too. Let's be honest here.
That's true. Yeah. But
I'm not anti-RTD either. I know I'm coming off as that, but I'm not.
No, it is interesting. I mean, Chris Chibnall is just the I don't know. It doesn't feel like as natural a fit for him to be Doctor Who showrunner as it does Russell T Davies. I have to admit. Now that we see this,
or Moffat,
Moffat was pretty good too. I think he was, slightly more reluctant to be sort of the figurehead of these sort of things, but did great in it. He's a very witty fellow and entertaining, and I will always listen to Stephen Moffat talk.
I mean, especially toward the end of things when he didn't want to be there. I'm sure that played into things, whereas RTD kind of went out on his own terms when he wanted to. Moffat didn't have that luxury.
No, he didn't. Basically lured back to do one more season before Chris Chibnall was ready. And now Russell T Davies is back. And this has been in the works for a while. It was, it's even a Doctor Who magazine. I mean, we barely got any production notes in the Doctor Who magazine column, the monthly column that usually the showrunner does. We got like maybe 4 or 5 over the course of the last 5 years. And already we have 2 from Russell T Davies, even though he's not I'll be quiet now. I'll just talk about things for, no,
you won't.
The gist of the article was here's how the David Tennant thing came about. This has been in the works since December of 2020, folks.
So using science and phrenology, the best science.
Yep.
I take that back immediately. It just popped in my head. So does this imply that there was a bit of behind the scenes, maybe this Chibnall guy's not working out, or does it not? 2020 around then how does that work in the behind the scenes manipulations and stuff?
Well, I mean, we all hear scuttlebutt and everything else. And I'm getting the impression that that I think the BBC was quite keen to have someone else be in the role. Yeah. Now, I don't know I still don't know who came to who first. Was it the BBC who said to Russell T Davies, quick, do you want to come back and do Doctor Who, please? We need to, get this thing back to maybe producing more than 10 episodes every 2 years, which would be great. Or did RTD say, you know what, I want to do this thing? I feel like the BBC would have approached him and RTD had ideas. This is me speculating. It's you know what? Maybe we could do this. Maybe we could get Bad Wolf involved and everything. I don't know where the instigation of that is. I want to see I want to see the Blu-ray documentary on this, because there's a great one about how Doctor Who came back. It's on. I can't remember which one it's on. It might have been on Survival or the TV movie or something. It's basically just Jane Tranter and Russell T Davies being interviewed separately, and like that's the whole documentary, and it's utterly riveting about how everything sort of came about. And then The Long Game, the book that came out this past year as well, sort of goes into that too. I would love to see The Long Game Part 2, Russell T Davies' return to Doctor Who, because I want to know who provoked that return. But yeah, the return's been in there a while. David Tennant being that Doctor has been there for a while, December of 2020, which is fascinating, given that is like the thing that they were going for from the beginning, was David Tennant coming back for whatever reason that he's doing this, is also interesting.
Well, when did the Tennant rumor kind of hit the like the fandom rumor cycle? Like it's been the best part of the year now. Hey?
January of 2022, and then I had it confirmed to me shortly after we railed against it being a thing. And I got a DM from a source saying, "Tennant, it's all true," and so I was bracing people at Gallifrey One about it. It's like, listen, this is going to happen. I trust my sources on this.
I don't think you were against it as much as me and Chris were.
No, I think I was seeing the reasoning for it, and I still do see the reasoning for it. And now that we're in the midst of it, I mean, we don't know what's going on. There was another picture of Neil Patrick Harris, probably from the same photo shoot that first photo from last week in his top hat and tails and creepy makeup there. Well, there's another photo where David Tennant sneaks into the background in a very interesting looking costume. It's sort of in the same style as his original run, but sort of a blue and red check suit with a sort of a dark blue kind of not denim jacket, but a different material that he's wearing there.
I wonder.
Yeah,
I wonder if they're going to bother explaining that, or he's just going to show up in that outfit and that'll be that.
I don't know. He teases why he's there in the first place. Russell T Davies does in the Doctor Who magazine article that's in 579 that came out this past week, and he's sort of like, oh, could it be this? Could it be a multiverse? Everyone's doing multiverses these days, and I imagine he's probably ladled the truth in there somewhere. He says, "Oh, I dropped Billy Piper's character name in Doctor Who magazine 340 months before the episode actually came out. It's in there somewhere." I had to go back to read what he said in the production notes, but maybe he's included clues.
I have a question for both of you. When he said multiverse, did your heart sink or not?
It did sink a bit. Yeah, it did sink a bit.
What about you, Chris?
Dang, don't care.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm in the middle there. I'm like a little bit of multiverse. Do we really need more of this?
We don't.
But also, I'm kind of more on your side than Steven's.
Yeah.
As far as Tennant coming back goes, I have no idea if we talked about this back in the day because I don't remember. But I mean, one thing we've never seen, and I'm not saying this is what we're going to get, but one thing we've never really seen is during whatever Doctor's run, having a past Doctor come back and have another adventure, a la Big Finish inserting. Like how many stories has Big Finish put between like Time Flight and Arc of Infinity?
Or how many Tennant stories have they done with other Doctors meeting?
Yeah, like
3 of them, I think.
Why not? Why can't we have something on the telly box with Tennant, Smith, whoever coming back to have an adventure in between stories X and Y or whatever?
Yeah,
why not?
Although I remember 2 things about that. They did do that with Smith calling Clara during Deep Breath. Not quite the same thing, but in the same sort of vague neighborhood. And also, I would much rather have it be like a previous Doctor, an alternate universe Doctor, than just regenerating into this version of Doctor. That is what really irks me, is having the 14th Doctor be an older Doctor.
I seem to
older
recall
version of
that
the same thing.
I seem to recall that was our main point of contention is the rumors of Whittaker regenerating into Tennant.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of just sort of like all of a sudden we're just going to abolish numbers of Doctors, which I think is kind of cool. Erica pointed that out on Verity, I think. Just basically, this is this Doctor and that Doctor. And thus it becomes less of a... Warren and I went on.
It's more fluid.
Yeah, behind the scenes, I went on my weekly rant against about how I bloated I feel the MCU is becoming, and that it's just becoming very self-referential, and it's kind of like it's kind of now excluded me because I'm not up to date on everything, and I don't feel like I'm enjoying the whole experience as much because I'm not as familiar with all the material, and I think casual fans. Look at Doctor Who going, the 14th Doctor. What? I gotta watch 13. This is season 14 of Doctor. What have you? Oh God, I don't want to watch because I'm. They immediately see 14 seasons of Doctor Who and just assume they have to watch the first 13 to catch up. And then we try to tell them
before this too.
Yeah, we try to tell them, oh no, you don't have to do that. But you know what? Not numbering a Doctor would be a good way of, or a season would be a good way of saying start here and work around.
When you have RTD jokingly putting 507 regenerations into a Sarah Jane line from Matt Smith, or you got Chibnall with the Timeless Child stuff. I mean, at this point in time, I guess we've had more than enough other Doctors that numbering kind of is a little passé.
A little bit.
And to be fair here and take on the other side, part of this is just me going, well, how could you possibly have more than 13 regenerations? It was they said it in 1970, whatever. Like I'm hanging on to this rule for dear life for no good reason. That's what I'm doing.
An equally throwaway line as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it's not the end of the world. It'll just happen. I'll just go, okay, fine, I guess. But it just, for whatever reason, it sticks in my craw. I don't know why. It just does. Like, I'd much rather have him be a side Doctor or a new version of the same or whatever. Like, just not that. But I don't know why. It just bugs me.
Well, we'll find out with a year and a half time, basically, or at the end of Jodie Whittaker's last episode. It reminds me of one of my favorite jokes from Futurama at the beginning of an episode. Fry and the gang are all at the edge of the universe, looking across, and they look into their little spyglass and go, "Oh wow, that's the other, isn't it you? That's us there in an alternate universe." And Fry goes to the Doctor. What's his name? The guy. What?
Zoidberg?
Farnsworth.
Zoidberg.
No, it's Farnsworth. And he goes, so wow, are there like an infinite number of universes? He goes, nope, just this one and the other one. I just thought, I love that. I love that. I kind of wish that sometimes there were such limitations placed on science fiction and stuff. They just, nope, just.
There's not going to be.
No, it's not. So. Anyway, there. Look at that. Almost half an hour just on Russell T Davies. Goodness me. You'd think, given our history with how RTD ended, we wouldn't be happy to see him back. But fodder for discussion, Russell T Davies is in Doctor Who. So perhaps we can all continue this discussion at Gallifrey One next year, February 2023. Tickets available, folks. I know people are a little bit hesitant after 2 years away. If you didn't manage to get to the most recent one, it will have been 3 years away if you by the time 2023 rolls around. Get your tickets. Get your tickets now. Just saying. It's this is the 33rd Gallifrey One. There won't be 33 more of these, is what I mean to say. So get to Gallifrey One while you can. It is the best thing that we've ever done as a Doctor Who podcast, is to go to Gallifrey One. We strongly urge you. It's such a great time. And you know what? Pandemic numbers are actually looking legitimately good. So
I'm a nervous Nelly. Just pay me no mind until stats back me up.
I know. Lock up the tickets.
Warren.
Listen. Yeah.
Stats. You want stats?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this is the absolute biggest cruelty of the pandemic, because it affects me. I have to pay attention to stats.
It is not to sound like a 1980s PBS pledge break, but the number of tickets sold are able to determine the number of guests invited. Basically, is how it works at conventions, and especially like Gallifrey One. So you purchasing a ticket to Gallifrey One helps ensure that the guests that they want to get are the ones they do get. So, And there's going to be a guest announcement coming this week, apparently. Hopefully before we record our news on Wednesday. We're recording super early, as I mentioned this week, so hopefully we can talk about that on the next RFS. But the discussion panel suggestion form in the TARDIS Talks, that's what Joy Piedmont and Paul Booth put together for the weekend of Gallifrey One. That is now open until August 15th. You can submit a deadline for panel suggestions and the TARDIS Talk submissions by August 15th. So those are now open. Gallifrey1.com if you want to submit panel ideas. I don't think I've ever submitted a panel idea. I have
not. I'm lazy.
You have? Which ones have you done, Chris? You remember?
It's been lots and lots of years. The last one I remember doing was something about international distribution of Doctor Who, like
that's
a decade ago or something.
Oh. Back in the days before day and date broadcast, probably, or something like that.
I think I might have done one with fan videos. I don't remember.
Yeah. I think it was you, Stephen. It was you, me, Steve Roberts, and somebody else who I can't recall.
Oh, I remember that. I think, yeah. They start to meld together a little bit, but yeah. So anyway, Gallifrey One. Guest announcement coming, tickets available, and panel suggestions. If you have ideas for panels, jot them down, fill out the form, gallifreyone.com.
Just looking through the, you briefly mentioned Doctor Who Magazine 579. Just looking through the bullet points on the Doctor Who Magazine website, and here's a panel idea. There's a thing in DWM about newly released documents reveal the details behind the classification certificates of Doctor Who videos in the 80s and 90s.
Do not suggest that as a topic.
That
Somebody will do it.
Yeah.
That is the kind of minutia that we as Doctor Who fans love.
Oh,
Actually, Stephen will do it. I could see Stephen being the only person presenting and at this panel.
Something like that would be back like the first podcast panels where there's more people on the panel than in the audience.
Yeah, exactly. Or there's one other person who's a way bigger expert on this than you, so it becomes a clash of some sort. I got ginned out of thin air, this nonsensical
I
panel.
know, what the hell. Yeah. Anyway, Gallifrey One, looking forward to it. It's once again, it seemed like it's very far away, and then it's not. In that order, that's how it works. It's never right around the corner. It's right there, and or it's very far away. And we're in the very far away part right now, but it won't be. So get your tickets. Where we got next? What do we do next on the show? Usually, is it the Timelash? That's what we do. We'll do the Timelash.
I believe so. Yes.
Why not? I've closed my news list. This is why I have to.
You fiend!
I know. I accidentally
What's
closed
wrong
it.
with you?
I don't know. I'm an amateur. But we don't edit on this show.
Thank goodness for recently opened tabs.
Oh, I did. Well, I closed
reopened.
the tab. I know. I accidentally closed one tab too many so that Safari wouldn't overload. Anyway, as I mentioned at the top, happy anniversary to Amy and Rory Pond, married at the end of the Big Bang 12 years ago today, June 26th, 2010. A date alluded to throughout the season. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
actually, yeah. That's, which is fascinating because, sometimes showrunners will go, "Oh, we don't know when it's going to air," or anything like that. Well, you knew enough to center it around the actual broadcast date that the last episode is going out. So I
Drove us into a frenzy too.
yeah, I think you knew a little bit.
The thing about the Big Bang, and not to continue crapping on the end of time, but it did, after anticipating or anticipating whatever Moffat's first season ender was going to be, this was a nice, like you've said many times before, the fact that it's very few characters, but it sort of revamps everything. It just was a much more tightly put together thing than the end of time was. So it was a relief in a way.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point, actually, about how did we? I don't know. I'd be curious to listen to our thoughts back then about like, were we looking forward to this? Were we dreading another end of time?
Yeah, I might be casting back and editorializing from 2022, but
Thanks to apps like Time Hop, where you can do exactly that.
On Twitter,
I was definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, we don't time hop we don't do a Timelash of our own episodes. Maybe we should. We were hitting the 1 year mark of this, which means we're going to start repeating each other. We're going to have to go back. Oh, this day in history, RFS 278 came out. Let's see oh God, we are wrong about literally everything in the world, let alone Doctor Who at this point.
I just assume we were wrong and don't even bother going back. I'm like, we were probably wrong, but whatever we said.
Yeah. People grow. Listen, I'm not even saying that I know what we said in the past, but I'm just saying people grow. We're just lucky enough, to have recorded all of our mistakes over the past 16 years. Yeah.
Is a different font size and a bigger font size than the rest of that sentence.
Yeah. Think about like deleting old tweets and stuff. Well, we got a whole podcast crew, history to delete. Anyway.
Regret the error is what we should call that archive.
Yeah.
The chase ended.
I know. I was going to say the chase ended. Speaking of wedding anniversaries, obviously Ian and Barbara immediately got married on June 26, 1965, at the end of the chase.
In London, 1965.
London night. God, thank God for Pip Madeley, I think is the cat who put together the trailer on that Doctor Who Twitch stream that used that London 1965. I think it was him. Might have been someone else. I know that during the Twitch thing, they were putting the trailers together. And I know that Pip Madeley started doing them again. Once one of them sort of happened, and think this isn't really the best one.
Yeah,
I have an idea.
That's what I was going to say.
And I don't know if it was for the Hartnell ones already, but
It was not a great. It was like kind of a. It felt like an '80s TV ad, basically, and then somebody else came up with a better fan one, and I think that's what happened. They replaced it. I was just going to say, the thing I love about The Chase is this title, The Planet of Decision. I'm like, wow, that's a gripping title.
Terry Nation, I love it. Like his story titles weren't like, episode titles weren't titles of episodes. They were just basically checklists. What happens to this one? Well, things are decided.
It's probably his outline. It's probably just never changed his outline.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a bullet point somewhere in his outline, exactly.
Planet of Decision. It should have been Decidus or something. What does that mean? Decidus. That's the name of the planet. Decide. You decide things. We also get introduced to Stephen Taylor for the first time after Peter Purvis hastily grew a beard 3 weeks after being Morton Dill. Again, they cast a new companion 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks before his on-screen debut because they liked him in a previous episode of the same story. 1960s TV was bonkers.
Even 1980s, where Colin Baker was a guy on Gallifrey, and then he was a doctor.
And then he entertained people at a wedding. Yep, and then
Martha Jones, who retroactively her sister worked at Canary Wharf. It's like
Martha Jones.
This happens all the time. We just tend to forget it out of convenience.
Matt Lucas in Doctor Who. Like, you know what? We liked him, but we cut off his head. Just write a line. We put it back together. He's fine. There he is. New companion. Good ending.
Still haven't brought back Adam.
No, because Brutal Langley is awful. Speaking of people there's a lot of people from that first season of Doctor Who who we won't be seeing a Doctor Who or anything else. Anyway, let's move on to the Sensorites. Please, God, let's talk about the Sensorites. June 27th.
Those sentences you don't hear very often.
Episode 2, 1964. The disappointing reveal of a slightly less threatening Sensorite coming up on the outside of the spaceship and then very slowly walking through hallways. In an episode that I believe did not have any recording breaks, as thy God, the director Mervyn Pinfield deemed. So essentially, I think this is one of those episodes of Doctor Who that could have been broadcast live because they never actually stopped recording at any point during this. Maybe it shows. I'll let you be the judge. Sensorites Part 2, The Unwilling Warriors. Any comments on the Sensorites, The Unwilling Warriors?
The likelihood of me going back to watch Sensorites is pretty dim. So.
Oh, not me, Warren, not me. I might.
Oh, I know.
I might not want to put in the homework to watch Marvel series to understand the movie the better, but I will watch the Sensorites again.
But you'll watch some ponderous, circle-footed weirdos till the cows come home.
Circle-footed weirdos.
I definitely agree with your assessment that, you got this creepy, scary thing at the end of episode 1 as a cliffhanger. And then when we actually see the the full Sensorites, it's like, oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Well, we sort of sang the praises of Russell T Davies' return at the beginning of this episode. Here are the two things that caused us to be disappointed during the first run.
Not quite.
June 28th and June 30th. We'll start June 28th, 2008. The Stolen Earth. The episode of Doctor Who that launched 2 Minute Time Lord. Not because of that episode, but because of our reaction to the episode. And Chip needed to say, no, I liked it. I'm going to start a podcast to say how much I liked it. And here we are.
That's loud.
I'm going to call out Past Me here because apparently Past Me hated it. But I think one thing RT, and we're going to see this with the next one up, is he's great at momentum and not as great at endings. And this is nothing but momentum, and it is still, to this day, one hell of a lot of fun. It's more the next one after that really futzes it all away.
Yeah.
But this one, all the buildup is actually a hell of a lot of fun to watch, unless you're tacky on TV and you watch it 15 million times over.
That's true.
But if you just watch it, sparingly, it is a lot of. And the end, where Gwen is just going ham on Dalek, is great. Like, all that stuff is fantastic. Even the stuff where Rose shows up and he's going to regenerate, like, that was fun to watch at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked the. I think the one thing there was a couple things that I didn't like. It just seemed very contrived and stuff, and the whole, like, the TARDIS dragging Earth back through the
but that's not this one.
And no, it is. That's at the end of the Stolen Earth.
Okay,
yeah, it is. Yeah,
I'm mixing it up. Then. What am I thinking of then?
I don't know what you're thinking of. it was silly. I just remember there were bits of it that were too silly. It was kind of like played for laughs. Like, oh, look at the TARDIS is dragging Earth around, and everyone's just sort of like, oh wow, it's a slight earthquake. And, okay, that's. I don't usually like science things to death.
Had that, not Stolen Earth.
Oh right, I am wrong.
Yeah. See, I thought I was mixing it up.
I am wrong. I apologize.
Right.
This is the good one. This is the good one. That's right.
Yes. Journey's End definitely deserves to get crapped on. Although I will give it this. Davros is pretty damn good in Journey's End.
I apologize profusely. I forgot about that. Yeah.
That's a perfect example of RTD throwing everything at a wall and going, well, I hope this sticks. Oh, I guess a lot of it didn't. But Stolen Earth is all momentum, and it's all a lot of fun.
It is.
My prevailing memory is that the Stolen Earth, just the plotting and the structure, just is nonsensical.
It is a bit.
Just utter gibberish.
But also fun.
Yeah, it throws a lot of stuff together a little too quickly. It feels like a thing that should be built up over the course of several episodes, but it kind of everything happens really quickly at the beginning. It's all right, there's a delicate basin of Earth.
You've got this intense explosive, this big barrel full of TNT, and then in the next episode, it explodes and it's a bunch of confetti.
Yeah.
that's kind of what it is.
Stolen Earth is where Tennant's doctor gets shot by the Dalek at the end of the episode.
Yeah, it ends in a regeneration.
Quote unquote.
Yeah.
Which just isn't a quote unquote. He does actually regenerate.
Yeah. He even says that I'm regenerating. Boom. Cue credits. Cue the news. David Tennant regenerates, like the BBC News ticker had a thing on it. It was like,
and then Moffat explains that in Time of the Doctor, and that's part of why we got the War Doctor. And so I am a complete hypocrite when it comes to whatever RTD comes up with. Frankly.
Yeah. And I'm a bad fan, obviously, because I forgot which episode this was. So.
I thought I was going crazy there for a second.
Yeah, well, I was going crazy, Warren. Well, I remember all my.
You're right about these things.
Yeah, I know I am. I know. Well, listen. I'm right about the censorites. I know that the censorites were recorded in one fell swoop, but I don't remember which damn episode it was that David Tennant almost regenerated in.
I love that you're dying on that hill, the censorite hill.
Oh, that's all I got, Warren. That's all
you're
I got.
Running up that hill, in fact.
That's all I have. Listen, I can't watch. I don't watch any new things anymore. I just gotta focus. I just gotta focus on Doctor Who minutia for the rest of my life.
Dying on the sense hill, somewhere on the sense sphere.
Sense it all to sense.
Can I talk about Last of the Time Lords and how disappointing that was, at least?
Yes, but I will defend it a little.
June 30th, rather, 2007. That was the. Oh boy, it was the first proper Doctor Who episode where I thought, oh no, Doctor Who can be bad and end a season as bad. I still just remember the sinking feeling when I saw Dobby Doctor come out from under that cloak, and I thought, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I am embarrassed about this, and it just infected my opinion of the rest of that episode.
I'm going to take a positive aspect on this one.
All right.
And talk about the very end with the Doctor kind of, cradling the Master in his arms, saying, just regenerate, just and then the Master being just, so defiant and just whatever the Doctor says, I'm going to do the opposite. Just lets himself die, and then you got the Viking funeral, and you got the ring that that later on becomes a point of contention.
Oh, not the ring.
So
Mr. Fuses picks up the ring. That's who it was. What?
Okay.
I forgot about that. The ring. Lord.
So
go on,
Chris. Are you still going, or can I?
No, go for it.
Okay. So I agree with absolutely everything you said, and I totally agree with the Dobby Doctor thing. It really disappointed me, and this definitely, after Utopian Sound Drums, I don't know how it could tie up those two, because I love both of them for different reasons. Having said that, I watched this quasi recently, and I didn't hate it anywhere near as much. I still felt disappointment at stuff I knew was coming, which is part of why I didn't like the Dobby Doctor. I'm like, where the hell did this come from? This is stupid. He just kept him as an old guy. But Chris is right, too. Like, the stuff with the Master at the end, there's bits and pieces that are good. And one part I really hate is where Jack has the face of Bo, which I, to this day, refuse. I reverse headcanon that. Don't accept it. But it's, I've seen worse finales than that, specifically under Time.
And I think I called this out back in the day when it first aired, but I enjoy how RTD chooses to wind back time, but only to a point after the U.S. president-elect is dead.
U.S. president-elect. Which is another actually the president-elect wouldn't be there representing the country, because it'd still be so it was, unless some crazy, listen, if this happened like in January of 2021, I guess before January 6th, you know what? Maybe I would rather be comfortable in sending Joe Biden in one of these things as opposed to his predecessor. So, you know what? As the years have gone on, that obvious error and that lack of understanding of American political systems makes more sense. So, yeah.
What I love is how the American president is made to be a bit of a buffoon, and they show American culture, and it's all ha-ha, taking the piss, British style, and it's nothing compared to what actually happened in the intervening years. Like, it's actually pretty restrained compared to what we ended up dealing with.
Yeah. Think about the prime minister. Think about Saxon. Was it? Is Saxon any worse and Boris Johnson?
I don't know if he is. And he killed 10% of humanity.
To riff off the whole good and bad aspects thing within the same point, I dig the whole red herring of Martha walking the earth and trying to get this gun that can kill the master kind of thing. But the dark side, the bad side is the whole the Doctor as Jesus resolution where they were just getting people to think of him.
But I did love "as if I ever teach her to kill." I thought that was a very affecting line, and her journey is kind of the best part of the whole thing, frankly.
Yeah, hey, they made a Big Finish thing out of it too. So
well, of course he did. That's Big Finish's writ.
I suppose. I mean, maybe they'll do a TV version of it. Who knows? Who knows? In the hotly anticipated and assumed Russell T Davies Doctor Who multiverse that has in no way been confirmed happening,
or is in any way anticipated.
No. Anyway,
but we've got more late season episodes to talk about, so I think we should move on.
We do. I know this is. I remember talking about this last year because I mentioned that Evil of the Daleks went out on July 1st, Canada Day, 1960. Our nation's centenary happened coincided with the Evil of the Daleks episode 7, which is fascinating. Army of Ghosts. The two-part. David Tennant did not regenerate at the end of that, nor did Rose Tyler, looking like she was in an ABBA video, possibly at the very beginning of it. She looked very dark and morose and standing on a beach. Maybe it was a Evanescence video. I don't know, but
please no.
No. Army of Ghosts. This is the story of how I died. Nothing. Oh my God, they're gonna kill off Rose. They didn't really.
Yep. And then what do we get shortly after that? Who are you gonna call?
Oh yeah, people are upset about that. I don't know.
I was.
It's a terrible line, and it does cast a pall over. But most of that episode is fun. Just that there's a couple blips that aren't so great, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, it also probably doesn't help that there's aspects in there that don't speak to people like us, like the EastEnders stuff in there.
Yeah,
like you get on like the whole Barbara. What's her name?
It's recently passed. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, like okay, that's there.
Listen, I still love that Doctor Who is, unapologetically British. That they'll throw in the EastEnders thing, even though like the rest of the world going, I don't know what's going on here, but nope.
Yeah, but we can look
the
up
montage of UK celebrities that we have no idea who they are. Like,
wasn't one of them
this is the one with like Anne Whitcomb, isn't it?
Oh no, that's a Vote Saxon one, and she's become awful. So it's hilarious that she's been
right. Yeah, because she says Vote Saxon. Yeah.
And she probably would vote Saxon these days. Now that's a funny thing, but Army of Ghosts. Good setup. That's with the Daleks, of course, coming out of the big thing at the end of it, and everyone think
which was spoiled, wasn't it?
That was great. That was pretty awesome.
It did feel like it was spoiled. It feels like I knew about that going in, and I don't know why. Was I just not paying it? Was I not caring about spoilers back then? Like it wasn't on Twitter. There was no Twitter.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Forums?
I don't remember either.
Is that what's going on?
I don't think I was spoiled. I think I seem to recall it being a kind of a surprise.
Maybe it just...
In fact, I'm positive it was a surprise. I was like, what? The Daleks? Holy crap.
Oh. I don't remember anymore.
And hey, the Cult of Skaro, that didn't lead us anywhere bad, did it?
How dare you tell the truth.
2017, the last regular episode of Peter Capaldi's here, The Doctor Falls, airs. Cybermen. Oh, the Cybermen origin story, though, that is still one of the most effective explanations for cheap costuming in Doctor Who history. You know, like, this is why the Cybermen look really cheap in 1966, is because they're basically put together by exactly.
It really works.
It does.
And I know it's world enough in time where it happens, and I don't care. But the whole pain, and then just turn down the volume so you can't hear it. Like, that is just so strong.
That's cool. That's some classic Moffat right there.
It really is.
One thing I will praise this guy, mostly because Missy is my favorite master, is the whole denouement of her and the Sim Master. I love it. I think that's probably my favorite part of the whole episode.
Oh, that's the speech too. You know, where I stand is where
great.
I fall.
Like,
oh my god.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The speech is phenomenal, but then where they end it for each other, it's a perfect capstone to both those characters.
It is. You know, Nardole, like, you know, okay, Bill is dead still, which is really bad, and she flies off with her.
Yeah, it's not great.
With Heather,
who's a water puddle.
Yep.
I do like that Nardole at least gets, like, you know what? That's a classic old companion thing. We talked to Steve Taylor at the start of all this. He ends basically...
That's a Leela accent.
Or Leela,
yeah. He stays behind to help, you know, people become, you know, that's what Steven does at the end of The Savages, and this is kind of what Nardole does. Like, I'm going to stay behind and help these people. I think that's such a classic Who thing. It was refreshing at the time. Now we've had... Graham and Ryan stay behind just because, but it's just nice with, like, you know, we don't have to kill someone and bring them back to life. We don't have to split them into a separate universe. They just sort of leave. There's a reason for other people to leave without dying or at the end of the year.
I mean, Martha just leaves, basically.
That's true too. Yeah.
But then she comes back too.
Yeah, she's back.
But I mean, versus say Rose or Donna. Yeah, those are a lot more extreme.
I was just gonna say Murray Gold's in top form in this one.
Oh yeah, he is.
There's some really good music in this.
Yeah. Good old Murray Gold. Maybe he'll be back. Maybe he'll be back doing more Doctor Who.
I'm happy if he is, and I'm happy if he's not. Let's put it that way.
And then we'll end what the hell. War Machines Part 2, July 2nd, 1966 aired. That's the end of Dodo. Last episode of Dodo. Mid
silence
episode.
there speaks volumes.
Yeah, mid episode, mid story. Yeah,
what a send off.
What a touching farewell scene where she slowly falls asleep, and then
the
she's
5-minute commemorative montage was just so powerfal.
Yeah. You could do...
falling asleep is how I react to a lot of blockbuster movies when I watch them on streaming. I slowly fall asleep.
Just like, I'm out.
And then I forget about them, just like we forgot about Dodo.
Poor Dodo. R.I.P. Jackie Lane, who we lost in the last year. All right. That's it for the time lapse. So probably, honestly, we'll probably take a break, because I think we talked about the 3 episodes that aired each week last year. So we might pick it up again in September again, when all of our thoughts that we said last year about episodes that aired on this date in history will be new to us once again. Once we've remembered them. But just a couple of big finish notes before the commentary for the Space Museum Falling Asleep, Space Museum Part 3. Doctor Who, the Fourth Doctor Adventures, the 9, are coming out. You can pre-order them. One of the episodes is called Peak Season, written by Liz Miles, a good friend Elizabeth Miles, writing for the Fourth Doctor Who. Yeah, which is pretty cool. So that's awesome. Tom Baker, Series 11. I can't believe that Tom Baker has done 11 series of Big Finish.
It's madness.
Yeah, absolute madness. So that's pretty cool. You can pre-order those. And also a dinner party to die for, Torchwood Dead Plates, featuring Bill Desmanger, who's from the second season of Torchwood, is out now, available from Big Finish, where, of course,
I have
stories.
one final side pimpening note.
Yes.
Friends of the show, David J. Howe and Sam Stone, she wrote a novel called The Stranger in My Bed on Showtime in the States, and I think Crave in Canada on Friday. That is a movie now, and it is being made then. So nothing to do with Doctor Who, but friends of the show and David J. Howe wrote a book that Stephen treasures to this day. So
I do. Some of my first books were from David J. Howe. My first ever interview was with David J. Howe at Gallifrey One.
It's on Friday, apparently.
Yeah. Friday.
At my insistence.
I know. And now look where I am. Yep. Showtime, straight to the bed. So there you go. If you have Showtime, I don't know if it's on Crave yet. It only shows up on Crave after it's been
Probably
on
is.
Crave.
I looked at the Showtime site for it, and all the Showtime shows are on Crave, so I'm presuming assuming it's on Crave as well.
All right. There we go.
Yes. That Torchwood Big Finish was apparently directed by Lisa Bowerman, which I didn't notice.
I think she
and
did.
For what it's worth, Bills Major was at the end of season 1 of Torchwood, not season 2.
See, it was season
Very
1.
Important detail.
That's right. Thank you. Well, I'm getting all the things wrong. Journey's End, Stolen Earth, not the Sensorites though. I'm an expert on the Sensorites, and probably the Space Museum because that's just where I go. So listen to how correct I am possibly about the Space Museum as we delve into episode 3.
Did we delve into anything to do with the Space Museum? I seem to recall there's a lot of 1-inch videotape blather going, most of it me and probably you.
Well, find out now with our classic series commentary of the Space Museum Part 3.
Are the microphones wired in?
All around the condenser, most merciful. We're looking forward to excellent duodecaphonic sound.
This is the moment when I get a real feeling of job satisfaction.
Welcome back. It's part 3 of our Doctor Who classic series commentary for the Space Museum for the episode entitled The Search.
Not
which
to be
thankfully
confused with the John Wayne film The Searchers.
Which I have yet to see.
A surprisingly racist film. I remember watching and going, wow, this is really racist.
Oh, interesting.
And it doesn't seem to be calling itself on it.
Well, I'm going to have to...
1956.
56.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
56,
yeah. But I just remember going, this is a classic Western. What? Okay.
I can't say I'm surprised, and I've always wanted to watch that film.
Shouldn't have been.
Maybe I will. But not until I'm done with the Space Pirates, along with you two. We're going to have to watch
Museum?
this. Why do we keep calling it Space Pirates? I know why. Because I never stop thinking about the Space Pirates.
Clearly, yeah.
That is a psychological problem.
Yeah, it is. Instead, we have to watch the Space Museum, Episode 3, The Search. I assume you have paused your legally purchased DVDs and Blu-rays since last episode while we get ready for this. That is excellent. Here we go, folks. The Space Museum, Part 3, in 3, 2, 1, play.
And if you did leave it on pause, don't do that again. It's a good way to burn out the motor.
It's a very good way to... Or, you could pause your... I mean, I still... technology is both fascinating and infuriating. But when it's fascinating, it's like I am watching an MP4 file, or MKV actually, of something made on 2-inch videotape, transferred to film, and then that film sent around the world and winding up at a BBC film library in 1978, and then transferred back. It's quite something to think about how we watch things, given how really dicey it was that we have anything at all from 1960s Doctor Who. I can watch this on my phone. I can watch this stupid thing on my phone if I wanted to.
No, the proper way to watch it. They did not intend for the... Actually, they intended to watch it on a crappy TV that probably caught on fire. So maybe you should watch it on your phone.
Maybe, yeah. It's quite something. Technology.
To me, or is the vid fire somewhat more intense? I'm not sure.
On this
year? I
year?
was just looking up. This came out, the DVD came out in 2010. Was it fired?
Oh, yeah.
It looks
everything on DVD has been fired except for the first Tomb of the Cybermen. That was not. Remember, because we had the...
because they rushed that out to capitalize on it, yeah.
Oh, no, wait. No. No, it was an Easter egg of a scene from Tomb of the Cybermen. I think every 60s Who, except Time Meddler was not vid-fired because of quality. They
meddled with.
Yeah,
by the Time Meddler himself.
Yeah, the quality of the film copies didn't produce proper results, so they just never vid-fired it.
I'm sorry, I read what Barbara just said. All we do is stand around saying this is a nightmare. I'm like, wow, 2020 to 2022 in a nutshell. Thank you, Barbara.
Oh, prescient.
Yeah. So I'm imagining that technology will have advanced since, I don't know when Time Meddler came out on DVD, but before the Blu-ray comes out. I speak as, rumors were flying around the BFI event in March of 2022 that Series 2 was going to come out on Blu-ray, and that The Crusade, 2 episodes of The Crusade have been found, and that's going to be on there. These are all rumors we're reporting months after the fact, but... So when that time does come, one suspects that the Time Meddler will have some proper vid firing put on it.
February 2008.
For Time Meddler, holy crap!
Time Meddler.
Jeez.
In a way, I'm glad I've never been to a BFI event because all the rumor mongering would be, wait for it, a Feast of Stevens.
I love it. I miss rumors.
Madness.
I miss
But it'd be
rumors.
many, many yous talking about all these rumors.
Yeah, that's true.
Getting more and more arcane and ridiculous.
Yeah, but back in the Omni rumor days, that's before your wife lived with you and stuff. And
Lived with me, but she knew all about it, though. Believe me.
Not by choice, I bet.
We are looking at 3 Doctor Who actors who would appear in Doctor Who again. There's Peter Diamond right there. He would be in other things. There's Ivor Salter, would be a policeman in Black Orchid there, doing the talking right now.
strike me pink.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. He's also in, I think he's in other stuff too, but well, there won't be any room. You are in for a surprise, says Tegan. God help me. Why do I remember scenes from Black Orchid, but I cannot remember what happens in any of the Marvel movies? Not a single one.
It's actually a lot simpler in the Marvel movies.
Ivor Salter also apparently was in the Mythmakers.
He was in the Mythmakers too, as Odysseus. There's Richard
And
Shaw.
Doctor Strange, the multiverse.
Yeah, Richard Shaw will be in Frontier in Space as the governor of the Mars Penal Colony.
And he was also in crap.
He's in Underworld again, isn't he? He's in Underworld.
Yeah,
Underneath the helmets, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, the historic tea set.
Again, I know the Doctor Who chronology of Richard Shaw's appearances, but ask me what happens in the second Incredible Hulk movie. Not a clue.
I haven't seen that.
There's more than one?
It's the one with Edward Norton in it.
Here's the chronology of the Hulk movies: the Ang Lee disaster,
Right.
The Edward Norton one, which is canonically actually a Marvel film, although people forget about that, and I've never seen it. It's I think it's the only Marvel film I haven't seen.
Whoa.
Canonical Marvel one, and I just not going to bother. I don't care. And then of course the Hulk shows up in everything else. So which is where he should be. Having his own movie, it doesn't make sense. Having him in other movies makes way more sense.
Having 2 of his own movies explaining the same story is.
Exactly. There's no point there.
Yeah.
As opposed,
it was
to
early
the
days,
37
right?
Batman films that exist.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that predates Iron Man, or is it right after Iron Man?
No, it's right after second one.
Right
Why do I know that?
Iron
I
Man was
shouldn't
the
have
first
known.
one.
Yep.
You're right. Yeah.
The Amazing Adventures of Short-Term Hulk. It was the second one, I believe it was called.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was.
Doctor Who and
But
an
Ruffalo is a
exciting
great Hulk.
adventure with the Hulk.
Yeah, exactly.
And over the course of a bunch of appearances in movies, he's had way more of a character arc than he did in those 2 films. So,
Yeah.
and he's going to be in She-Hulk, starring Canada's own Titania Maslany.
Oh, is she in that? I didn't know that. Wow.
Yep, she is the how do you say that?
Titular?
She-Hulk.
Titular?
Titular. Yeah, I was going to say the eponymous.
Eponymous works as well. Yeah.
I don't know when that's coming out. Probably next year.
Oh,
or
it'll
into
come
this
out
one.
when it comes out.
Yeah,
She's got to do
Alice.
something since since
Orphan Black.
Orphan Black.
Black Orchid.
She was
Orchid.
phenomenal, and let's not dismiss Orphan Black.
in an Orphan Black.
No.
She was
It's
amazing.
fine. She was incredible.
Yeah.
Like
It's mildly bizarre that she won like an award. Didn't she win an Emmy for that? In this last
she
year,
should have if she didn't. It's insane if
like
she didn't.
how she did not parlay that into anything else major. Like I don't know if she
She-Hulk is pretty major. She's
well,
probably
I know,
getting
but
paid
that's
a
like
pretty penny for it.
several years after Orphan Black. Like you'd think that she
I
would go from
suppose,
that
yeah.
to something else. And honestly, maybe it's just the hype and intensity and just the workload that she had on Orphan Black that just made her want to step back. I don't know the history
Maybe, yeah.
of what her career trajectory has
Also,
been, but
Because Orphan Black is a successial Canadian show, which is a rarity, we heard a lot about Orphan Black.
did.
So maybe it's kind of risen in our ranks because of that.
We
It's a
did.
good show, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying we probably were overexposed to it due to being told how great it was all the time because it genuinely was.
here is why Peter Diamond is in this episode. By the way, we have a pretty well choreographed fight sequence. Given its
That was a good beatdown.
Yeah, it's a multicam. If you're shooting it on film, you edit that together, but that's done as live essentially. And Peter Diamond did that for this. He did the fight sequence for the Romans. It appeared opposite William Russell for that too.
As we all know, bold equals evil. So this guy has to be evil.
Yeah, no, I think it's a mannequin or dead.
Hey, he could be dead and evil. The important thing is I can't be wrong.
Oh, here's some classic hiding in plain sight acting here coming up. It's like, what if I just happened to look ever so slightly further around the corner here? Look at him. Oh, yeah, that's good enough. Off you go.
I'm tired.
I've
it's
seen all I
Friday.
need.
It's 4 in the afternoon. I'm done.
I mean, at least Barbara moved, unlike Susan in the Keys of Marinus hiding from a Vord. Didn't move at all. She had nowhere to go, let's face it.
My favorite's still The Mind of Evil One.
Yeah, look at her hair.
That's a
Look at her
classic.
hair, just like, whoa, that is, there. It moves. The hair moves. I mean,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
The hairspray is wearing off.
yeah. After weeks.
Why does every exhibit look like boring crap at a university lab?
Have you been to a museum? It's like, look at what they used to eat in the 1890s. And it's like, okay, it's a box of oatmeal.
I've been to some
all right.
pretty decent museums in my time, and this
Right.
is bottom tier, I have to tell you.
This is Smithsonian level. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, it is not. No, sir, it is not.
Museums.
If we're going to recommend museums, the Canadian War Museum in Ottawa is excellent.
It is.
I still have
good.
never been to Ottawa. That's a shame on my part.
I went to it many years ago. It's moved since I was
Yeah,
there.
I was there 2018?
Oh, yeah. That was like late 90s, early 2000s.
I'll tell you why I haven't been to Ottawa. It costs like 3 times as much as it costs like to fly to like Arizona or something. So
It doesn't anymore. Things have completely flipped around.
good.
I'll be going there in September if all goes well.
This is
Well,
dating this. I don't know when this is coming out, but as of right now, plane tickets are madness, utter madness.
Oh.
I was thinking about going to New York, and it is twice as much money as it used to be.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's bad. You mean.
A friend of mine goes down to Puerto Vallarta for the winter, and she's like, "Oh, you could stay with me, my boyfriend, at our place in Puerto Vallarta if you want to take a vacation for free out on the flight." And I'm like, "Yeah, oh no, everything costs a ton to go to Puerto Vallarta." Never mind.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there's Peter Diamond again, getting ready to get beat up again.
Blaming it on Russia.
He just got beat up, and he's going to get beat up again. Probably.
I keep thinking of the Beastie Boys. Is your name Michael Diamond? Is your name Peter Diamond? No, it's Kenneth.
I don't know what you're talking about, Warren.
It's from a Beastie Boys song which I cannot place off the top of my head.
Was it in one of the Marvel movies that I have no memory of?
No, it was not.
Okay.
It was not.
No, the only Beastie Boys song you'll have ever heard in a movie, Steven, is Sabotage in Star Trek.
Ugh. Blech.
Oh, God, it was in that movie, too. Oh, for God's sake. Why? Why was Sabotage in a Star Trek movie?
By the way, the person I'm going to talk about is probably not a listener. But I was on the bus yesterday, and this guy had a patch on his jeans jacket that said, "She's not my mother, Todd." And I had to think of what is that? That's Terminator 2. That is the deepest cut I have ever seen on an article of clothing in the history of the world. And so I had to tell the guy, I'm like, "Dude, that is absolutely beautiful." He's like, "You can hear him say it." I'm like, yes, I can. Unfortunately, I wasn't wearing my Carolco t-shirt at the time. That would have been synergistic.
You have one? Oh, jeez.
I do, in fact, have a Carolco t-shirt. I'm going to wear it today.
Oh, they're so bankrupt.
Yeah, they certainly are, and have been for a long time.
Yep.
Terminator 2 is much older now than this was when Terminator 2 was being made.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you, Terminator 2 is much better than this ever was.
No, it isn't though.
Terminator 2 is 31 years ago.
Yep.
And still a high watermark for action in film.
Fascinating, isn't it? Think about that. Were they talking about films from early 19... Like, were they talking about, I don't know, what came out in 1961? I don't know. Something else in 1960?
The Bullet came out in, 69?
68.
And people still talk about that car chase.
Look at that set. Just kidding. And joining
hey,
us
this is
on
solid.
the-
Ben-Hur.
Listen, that's
Yeah,
a solid
there you go.
wall. She is reefing on that door. I mean, good for her.
People did talk about Ben-Hur's chariot race.
It still
which
is.
What, 59, 58? somewhere around there?
59 that was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it is phenomenal. The rest of the movie is not as good, but it is a phenomenal.
You might be talking about Star Wars Phantom Menace Episode 1, because the...
I might as well be, yeah.
I mean, the pod race is basically the chariot sequence as intended by George Lucas, and it's
fantastic.
legitimately impressive. But
with a little bit less death.
yeah, that's true.
But only just a
Actual. No, I think the 1923 version had a lot of death in it. I think horses died certainly, but
Man, that makes me want to watch the pod race. But then I go to myself, then Disney will just start recommending more Phantom Menace related nonsense at me.
yeah,
So you
we
just delete that out of your YouTube history.
Yeah, we just played the Lego Star Wars video game, all three of us, that portion of it. So that was enough. That's enough for me.
Yeah. Well, I still have to go, as we record this, I still have to go back and
Oh,
do it
yeah,
in
okay.
free play mode for the mini kits and whatever.
Right.
I haven't gotten.
I love that this has become a job. Not that I'm not going to do the exact same thing when I finish the story.
Yeah. It's been a few days. We're Xerons. We're copies of copies. Xeron, get it, Xerox. There are no Xerons on Zeos.
These guys look like they should be in an early 80s synth band.
They do look a little new romantic, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
And the Morocks could be Kraftwerk.
No.
Almost.
No.
They got the same hair.
No, they don't. They don't have the same. They're West Germans, Kraftwerk is. From the 1970s. I mean...
So they're communists is what you're saying.
Yeah.
They're probably part of the Bader Meinhof gang.
What's the Bader Meinhof gang? What is that, Warren?
The terrorists in the 70s.
Oh, right.
I might be getting this woefully wrong.
There is
terrorists
a
in Germany
no.
in the 70s.
Yo, you're right. That I remember we had this talk before, and there's a song on Kraftwerk's album Autobahn called the Morgan Spatzier Gang, and I always thought that it's one word. It's German. I don't know what it means, but I always thought that a good name for a band would be the Morgan Spatzier Gang because it's.
Wasn't Morgan? Isn't that morning? I mean, I don't speak German at all.
That
so.
sounds.
I mean, it could be
probably
it could be a very bad gang. It could be like naming something the Jim Jones problem or something.
There is a Jim. Isn't there a band called Jim Jones?
There's
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jonestown.
Remember there was
Something.
the Brian Jonestown massacre.
There it is.
Oh,
yeah.
right. Yes, that's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. The band might be good, but that's it. But that's also a generational thing. I remember being shown a video by some indie band, this is the early 2010s, where they had kind of composited themselves into the Jonestown footage. And I was like mortified. I was mortified, and the person showing it to me was younger, and she said, "Oh, you're like that because it's older and you remember it." I'm like, "Yeah, that's exactly why I'm appalled because I remember it. It was a really weird thing to have happen. I don't need people putting an indie band into it. What the hell?" There
is absolutely no liquid in any of those cups right there.
Oh, absolutely not.
If you watch Christmas movies, and we do a lot come Christmas time, and we play bingo with them to find all the tropes of them. One of the spaces on the bingo card is drinking from an empty coffee cup because you can quite clearly tell.
You don't need to watch Christmas movies for that. That is in everything.
Oh, I know. This is an industry wide problem, and quite clearly it's been going on for decades, as we see before us. Because put a little something, put like any weight inside of a coffee. It doesn't even have to be liquid. Just have some weight in there.
Do you actually care, though?
Yeah, I do.
You actually care?
Obviously, I do.
This is
Warren.
your version of my close talking from the last episode.
Probably. You care about close talking. I care about...
You and Kat need to have a conversation about this because she rails against that every time.
Oh, man. It's it's terrible. It's terrible. Like,
it's what makes streaming bad.
Like, I don't know. Is that supposed to be like Guinness beer or something with a mighty head on? I don't know what's going on, but
it just looked like coffee mugs you would get filled up at like Tim Hortons.
Yeah, well,
to me,
they're completely empty. Just saying.
I saw an article saying, "Why did this reality show use silver goblets?" I'm like, and they answer their own question, which is because of the editing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this thing is chopped together from everywhere, and if it's a silver goblet, you can't tell.
The set design in this show is kind of bland, I gotta say.
It certainly is.
It's a lot of flats. That's interesting. So that at least creates some visual interest. But
this
faux texture.
Yeah,
this is the equivalent of when a anchor, and it's always an anchor, gets the idea we should shoot this in master control to make it look futuristic. I don't know if that happens anymore.
No,
but it was an annual thing when I was working in master control.
Yeah, yeah.
This is amazing. I'm like, no, it's a bunch of TVs. Calm down.
Yeah.
Like, come on, really? But that's what this reminds me of. Just a lazy thing. They're just, we got a storage room. Let's film in there. What the hell?
Well,
or even worse, we rebuilt a boring storage room.
A specially filmed storage room.
Yep.
Is that a location?
It's the Heaven's Gate of storage rooms.
Yeah.
That guy's like this story's version of the man from the Ministry.
He totally is.
That's some good
he
framing,
looks like
though.
Stephen Fry's mean uncle.
Yeah, I gotta say that the framing there, though, with Salter in the back and Diamond behind there, like Diamond's face was just over his shoulder, and that was like if they were off a little bit, So good job,
Is that an
Mervyn
entirely
Pinfield.
different ray gun or the same ray
It
gun?
might be the same ray gun.
Oh my God! Look at this! Look at these Tom Tits and Tom Tit Jr.
Not often you get to buy a computer anymore that has a built-in chair.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the Cray. I believe the Cray was the last time you could do that. Cray supercomputer, which my watch probably beats at this point.
Every
but
time
anyway.
I go to the Science Museum in London, I always stop at the Cray one and just gawk.
I'd have a sit,
Good proper.
and it says, "Please do not sit on me."
Please do not sit on me.
This looks like video games. In fact, this looks like Lego Star Wars stuff you would break
Very much
just
so.
to get studs.
Yeah, and like just the silver ones too. Like wouldn't even be much.
Yeah, no gold, no blue.
Yeah,
No.
not a blue to be found in there.
Certainly not a purple. There we go.
Have you seen my cousin Wotan?
We need Doctor Who.
He is required, you might say.
Do you know what was being made in London at the exact same time as this?
Not a clue.
It
Babies.
was Doctor Who and the
Whoopee.
Daleks. They were shooting the first movie at the same time as this story, which is fascinating when you think that they're about to make the chase. And I think they use some Dalek props from that movie, which they just finished shooting. I think they used a couple props in that.
Yeah, I have this idea in my head that I read that somewhere, but I might be wrong.
It might be Dalek 6388 that had that. I might have to watch that series yet again as I wait for the second one.
You are required to do
I
so.
just
There's
enjoy
absolutely-
it.
you have no choice.
I just enjoy it. You listen, how many times have you watched a Watergate documentary, Warren? It's just fun.
Oh, you're absolutely
You
true.
know?
I can't argue with that. You're absolutely right.
I watched so many Watergate documentaries. I just like hearing stories about Watergate. What is wrong with me?
There's a drama. There's Julia Roberts, I believe it is, in Gaslit, which has gotten bad reviews, as Margaret Mitchell.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Her side of the story, which, honestly, I don't know if this thing delivers, but that's a side we haven't heard before, so good for them for trying that at least.
I guess
That
not.
came out last year or something, yeah.
No, it's now. It's coming out.
Oh, is it not yet out? Okay. I remember reading about it a while ago.
By the
anyway.
time people hear this, it'll have been last year probably.
Okay.
but as of April, it is coming out now. Like it's the
Gotcha.
first episodes on Crave.
Gotcha.
Gaslit, you said?
Gaslit, yes.
Is it a TV series or a movie?
I
series.
believe it's a TV series. Yeah.
TV series.
I know. That just cast a pall on everything, didn't it? That was a good fall.
No, it's a TV series. You're wrong.
That's what we just said.
Oh, was it? Oh, sorry,
You're
film.
wrong. It is a TV series.
Here's the crazy thing. It's premiering as we record this tonight. So there you are.
There you go.
So
Everything
does,
happens tonight. We're recording this in the anniversary of the original broadcast of episode 1 of the Space Museum, and apparently the exact day of the original broadcast of Gaslit, starring Julia
Which
Roberts.
they rushed to broadcast due to our recording. Though.
Yeah.
And also
Move it up.
the start of series 2 of Grace as well. Starring Johnson.
Grace Under Fire? No.
Grace. Yeah.
I don't know
Oh.
what that is.
Grace
know
Under
what
Fire
that
is a sitcom.
I remember that.
With Brett Butler.
Brad
Her name's
Butler,
Brett
that's
Butler?
right. Yeah, that's right. That sounds right. Yeah.
Now, Grace
Yeah, I
is
remember with her.
a.
She fell into hard times, as I recall.
She did, yeah.
She did. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of there's something quite anarchic about pure innocent little Vicky standing up there and says, what do you want these weapons for? Revolution, as she says cheerily. Just like there's quite a thing. I love that. That should be it should be memed more.
So that totally reminds me, and this is not to malign Vicky, but it reminds me of what January 6th happened, as they were interviewing somebody about how they were talking about how poorly they were treated by the cops, and they're like, "What were you trying to do here? Start a revolution!" Then they probably should have arrested you.
Yeah.
Yes, that's generally how it works. I'm trying to overthrow the government, but you can't arrest me for that.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure you can.
I'm a patriotic duty.
But treasonous insurrection is how the country was made.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. My head hurts. I need to lie down.
Oh. I do like how the Morlocks are like a rarity in Doctor Who, a really tired empire. Just like, this is just
that
too
happens
much
less than you
effort.
think. You're right.
Yeah.
Basically, they ripped off Foundation. They took all the crappy bits. I want to see Willem Dafoe in this outfit because this guy vaguely looks like Willem Dafoe.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I'm something of a Morlock myself.
An Oscar-winning Morlock. Was he in one of them their Spider-Man films?
He certainly is. He's in 2 of them there Spider-Man films.
Oh.
2 different but now canonically tied Spider-Man films.
Oh, Gadzooks, the final phase.
It's the final phase.
Do-do-do-do. Hope you enjoyed your week off there, Bill. Where did they go?
Don't even notice he's gone.
No.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
Billy Cornelius is a great name.
That is a pretty great name.
That is an awesome name.
He better have a band. With a name like that.
Right? Yeah, Billy Cornelius and the Common Men or something like that. Well, there we are. 3 done, everyone. We're almost through this. We're almost through the Space Museum. Not entirely unlike other guided tours through museums. We're just looking forward to being done. So join us for the last one on the next episode of Radio Free Skaro. Until then, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro. Subscribe to us on iTunes and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.